Hello, comic lovers! Welcome to the second episode of the Boys comic series. In the previous episode, we saw Huey's girlfriend Robin die in Scotland due to A-Train's negligence. Butcher meets with Raynor to restart the boys team and fight against the Supes. After that, with the help of a man named Kessler, Butcher finds out about Huey and goes to meet him. Now, moving forward. In the first scene, we see Raynor looking at the past records of all the members of the boys. The records contain statements from many people who have encountered any member of the boys at some point. All the statements and records indicate how brutal and dangerous all the members of the boys team are. However, since Raynor had already said yes to Billy, she says to herself after looking at the records, well, it's too late now. In the next scene, we see a flashback where Frenchie is sitting in a cafe, drinking coffee, and remembering his old days. At that moment, a group of 3 people sitting nearby make some racial slurs at Frenchie after hearing him speak French words. Angered by this, Frenchie headbutts one of the men while walking, punches the second man with force, and attacks the third man's face with his knee. In this way, all 3 men are lying on the ground, defeated. Frenchie is about to attack them again when we hear Billy's voice from the side saying, "You hit him pretty hard." As soon as Frenchie sees Billy, he hugs him, and the two walk away while talking. On the other side, we see Huey, who is crying in grief over Robin, and just then, Butcher, sitting next to him, asks him, "Hey friend, is everything okay?" To which Huey replies, "No." Butcher then asks, "Have you lost someone close to you? Is that what it is?" And Huey angrily replies, "Yes." Butcher then says, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I'll leave now." Just then, a strange sound of a dog comes from the side, annoyed by which Huey says, "What kind of crappy sound is that?" Butcher then says, "It's those small dogs, they call them Shih Tzu or something like that, and they're quite annoying." To which Huey says, "I hate such dogs." And Butcher, laughing along, also says, "Yeah, I don't like them either." Butcher then asks Huey, "Would you like to see something fun?" And then he calls his dog Terror and tells him to mount the annoying dog. Seeing the dog do that, Huey bursts into laughter and says that it's the weirdest thing he's seen in a long time. To which Butcher says, "Well, at least it brought a smile to your face." Butcher then goes on to say, "I won't lie to you. I know who you are and what happened to you, and that's the reason I'm here to talk to you about something." To which Huey, surprised, says, "What?" Just then, Butcher calls Terror back and tells him to go for a walk with him. Huey goes on to say, "What did you just say? How do you know me, and what do you want to talk to me about? Who are you anyway?" To which Butcher replies, "My name is Butcher, and some people also call me Billy." Huey then says, "Well, I'm Huey, but it seems like you already know that. Some people also call me Wee Huey." Butcher then says, "Nice to meet you, Huey. I'm really sorry about what happened to your girlfriend. To be honest, it was quite diabolical, and I know that after that, those people came to meet you to get some papers signed when you weren't even in a proper state to think straight." Huey then asks, "So who were those people, and how do you know so much about all this?" Butcher then says, "I used to run a team that prevented such incidents from happening, like what happened to Robin, and if we couldn't prevent the incident, we at least made sure that the culprit of the incident wouldn't be able to do anything like that again. We kept an eye on these superheroes, or as you can call them, Supes." Huey, a little surprised, says, "Superheroes?" To which Butcher says, "Yeah, the long underwear brigade that thinks the world is their playground." Butcher goes on to say, "Anyway, now it's time to rebuild that team, and for that, I'm gathering all the team members." In the next scene, we see another flashback where the female is standing at someone's gate. From inside the gate, the voices of 3 people can be heard, 2 of whom are arguing about something. Just then, the third man says, "You two stop fighting, and until everything is sorted out, we need to stay hidden like lizards." The 3 of them are still talking among themselves when the female knocks on their gate. They get startled by the knock, and when they look out the window, they see a small girl knocking on their gate. After one of the men goes to open the gate and asks the female how he can help her, she doesn't respond. After staring at the man for a while, she goes inside the house and starts killing everyone. Screams can be heard from inside the house, and suddenly we see a face pressed against the window. Seeing this, the Butcher standing at a distance says, "Lovely." The scene then returns to the present, where Huey asks Butcher who he works for, and Butcher replies, "CIA." Huey says, "The CIA, they're not good people." Butcher agrees, but says he wants to kill superheroes, and the CIA is an agency with the resources to do so. Excited by the mention of the CIA, Huey asks Butcher if he knows about Area 51 and the Illuminati and if he knows how human DNA is being mixed with alien DNA. "I mean, we're talking about the people who literally run the world," Huey says. Butcher chuckles and says that even in their wildest dreams, they don't run the world, and they don't know of any secret committee or Illuminati. They're just a normal old company where some overweight, middle-aged people sit in their offices and devise ways to keep an eye on people so that the world keeps running exactly as it already is, which means power remains in the hands of the powerful. Huey then says that the powerful people are currently facing the greatest threat from superheroes, to which Butcher replies, "You're smarter than you look." Huey further asks if it's right to work for these people. In response, Butcher says he told Huey that he doesn't like the CIA people himself, but if Huey knows of any agency that can give them a better offer, he's ready to work for them. Butcher goes on to say, "Listen, I know working with them is like shaking hands with the devil, but it's only by shaking hands with the devil that we can do some good, save some lives. If nothing else, we can at least keep those superheroes in check by scaring them. You understand what I'm trying to say, right?" Huey then asks if Butcher wants him to join his team. In response, Butcher says, "I'll tell you what I need. I need someone who understands the arrogance and humiliation these superheroes have for us, for whom our lives mean nothing, our deaths make no difference." Huey, slightly troubled, says, "But I don't know how to do all this. I mean, the things you're talking about require me to fight people and spy on them, and I don't know how to do any of that." Butcher then says, "Just pay attention to the details. You'll learn easily. Look, I read the report filed by those 3 idiots. I know you didn't take money from them because you don't want any payoff for your girlfriend's death. You don't want your girlfriend's killer to get away with just some money?" As soon as Butcher says this, the scene changes, and we are shown another flashback where Mother's Milk is telling Butcher, "Butcher man, I don't know if I'll come back or not." To this, Butcher says, "Come on man, the other 2 guys are crazy, and the new guy will take time to learn. I won't be able to keep an eye on the other 2 while teaching him." responds, "I'm making great progress with these kids and bringing a difference in their lives." Further says, "Look, before what happened with Mallory, a lot of bad things happened to us, and I'm 1,000 times happier leaving all those things behind and living here. I think if I want to bring change, I would like to start with a small scale." Just then, MM's daughter Janine enters the room and greets Butcher, saying, "Hello, Uncle Billy," to which Butcher greets her back. Then says to his daughter, "Honey, what did we talk about the way you dress?" To which his daughter replies, "Oh, did we talk? As far as I remember, you just ordered me what to do." As is about to say something, his daughter interrupts him and says, "Okay, now I can't even be different. I think I should spend some time with my mom and wear the dress I like." And saying that, she slams the gate and leaves the house. After that, looks at Butcher and says, "And I have to look after all this too." Butcher then says to "I'll be back in a minute." And Butcher also leaves the house and goes to MM's daughter and her friends. After reaching there, Butcher says to them, "Sorry guys, but I need to talk to Janine alone for a while." After that, one of the boys takes out a gun and threatens Butcher, but Butcher snatches the gun from him, breaks it, and chases both boys away. After that, Janine says to Butcher, "I can't believe you can do something like that. Who do you think you are?" Butcher then says to her, "Since when did you start talking to your dad like that? He works every day, every hour, just for you, so that all your needs can be met. You have no idea how lucky you are." Butcher further tells her, "On the other hand, your mom is always high on drugs and doesn't even have her own sense. So stop hanging out with such vagrant friends, go do your homework, and yes, respect your dad." With this, the flashback ends, and we return to the present with Huey and Butcher, who are sitting on a bridge. Huey says to Butcher, "I'm sorry, but I'm not in a position right now to do this kind of work, let alone imagine something like that. I'll have to forget all this and make a new start." To which Butcher says that they were laughing a lot about Robin, so Huey says, "What?" So the Butcher goes on to say that A-Train, who is a member of the Seven, is part of a team that claims to be the world's protectors. A-Train was a bit nervous in the beginning, but after talking to the others, he became normal. Huey, surprised, asks how the Butcher knows all this. The Butcher explains that he has bugged the Seven's headquarters, and if Huey wants, he can listen to those tapes too. This has happened before and will continue to happen in the future if no one does anything against them. However, Huey asks the Butcher the one thing he doesn't understand. They have superpowers, so how can they possibly defeat them? The Butcher replies that there are ways. After that, the Butcher gets up to leave and hands Huey an envelope filled with money, saying he has to go now. The money is for Huey to come and meet them. The Butcher suggests Huey come to New York for a week or two, meet the boys, and see them in action. Then it's up to Huey whether he wants to join the team or not. The Butcher tells Huey it was nice talking to him, and with that, Terror and the Butcher leave, leaving Huey lost in thought. If you'd like to read the boys' comic book, we've compiled the comic book sequence for you. You can click the link in the description to purchase the boys' comic books in order. There are many more issues in this comic series that we will cover later, so stay tuned to the channel. Until then, if you're new to the channel, subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of The Boys.